All right, troops. All right, everybody. Sorry, we've been having a bad hair day today. Look, I've got the full coos lick, as they call it in Scotland. It's all right. It's because on the way up to town, Donna put my head out the window because she said my singing was bad. So she just put my head out the window all the way. And I was talking to the dog when its head out the window as well. Who have we got in the chat? Okay, guys, we've got Steve from the official Topic Talk. Steve appeared on DECCAHEGGIE Expose the other night there. You know, the old footage from last year. And I'll wait till the numbers come up a wee bit. Again, it's a time of night. A lot of people are sitting having dinner. The beautiful Donna here is actually standing cooking. Smells nice, actually. And we'll go for there. Who have we got in the chat, first of all? How you doing? How you getting on, Steve? You all right?
Yeah, not too bad, John. I mean, thanks for offering me to come on and, grace your platform.
So, we'll go back to last year, Steve. Now, when was it that Expose came out the first time?
It was December last year. It was a year ago.
It was a year ago, basically. Yeah, it was December, was it?
Yeah, it was
December. Now, it'd be fair to say you were very much pro-Decca up until then. And we had a lot of run-ins. Over 280 run-ins, I believe. We'll get that out the road first. So, basically, guys, Steve here for the official Topic Talk was very much pro-DECCAHEGGIE this time last year. And so much so, he really believed that Decca was innocent. And being from a very kind of cultural place himself, I thought it was a bit ridiculous that these so-called trolls were trolling DECCAHEGGIE. And I say, be fair to say, you helped him. You done what you thought was right at the time in helping him, and you probably went more out your road to help him than I've seen anybody actually out here helping him, because you believed that he was innocent, Steve, right? So how did you get to, first of all, how did you get to know Decca? Or how did it come across?
Well, basically what happened, I was just a average YouTuber, just watching different channels back then. And I came across Decca's channel. And, I watched some of his content. Mm-hmm. And I noticed that he was receiving a lot of hate, through the comment section and, messages calling him a beast and a monster and a grapist. And, I sat back for a couple of days, watching a couple of these films and videos that he had done. And the hate was just getting worse and worse and worse. Mm-hmm. And it was at that point, I put a couple of comments in on the chat, kind of half in defending, or say what you calling him a beast for, he's not a grapist, blah blah blah.
Was this just on YouTube, Steve, or was there any other platforms you were using?
This was just purely and utterly on YouTube.
Okay.
I didn't know who he was. I didn't have a clue, his background or what he was or who he was. Basically, I didn't have a clue. I'd seen so much hate, and I tried to put a message up asking him to get hold of me so, he can talk to me and say what the hatred is and how, why all these people are, being so nasty to him and horrible to him. And I think I sent him a Facebook message, which I got a reply to. Mm-hmm. It was at that point he was explaining, like, his name, who he was, that he was a bare knuckle boxer. And
was this from his DECCAHEGGIE profile? Or was it from his chat, his page, his Facebook channel?
I think it was DECCAHEGGIE on Facebook, if my memory serves me right. He then asked me phone number, and I was, at first, I don't give my number out, you know, as such. And this was about 7 days later now, and he was explaining that he was getting a heck of a lot of trolls and people hating upon him because calling him a rapist, and he wasn't a rapist. And so I think on the second week, I think I give him my number, and then that's when he started WhatsApping me messages, and it was then that he was kind of, the manipulation started at that point, I think, because
because but nothing's rehearsed here. I spoke to you briefly there for a couple of minutes just to say that how I was going to start this off.
This is right. This is right off the top of our heads, and we haven't scripted or pre-planned any of it.
No,
so
there's nothing.
I ain't got a clue what John's going to ask me.
Well, then I need to be kind of open and honest with everything we do here. So, I was sent stuff from Instagram, and there was a profile on Instagram called was it Tiny Tim or Tim's something, and there was a couple. Tiny Tim it was, and I think it had a kind of devil face about it. Was there any introduction between you, Decca, and Tim Price? Never. Okay.
No, never. I've had no association, filtration, or communication with that Tim or anybody. Come to think about that, it was just purely between me and Decca.
What about the guys? There was a guy Smith from the northeast. What was it? Gary Smith.
Now Gary was purely on YouTube. I'd seen him, and that was through his crime channel. Round about then, there was me and Gary. That was like kind of talking.
So we're talking about crime scene northeast here. Would I be correct in saying that? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Gary Smith. Yeah. I'd only ever seen these guys on YouTube. You know, I'd never had any other contact, you know, with these guys outside of YouTube before last year. Okay. So this all came about round about, if I say about August, September, is where I was defending Decca-ish from the start of all of this.
Okay. Did they ever offer you any money, Steve? Was there any any talk of money or whatever?
There was no talk of money, but there was incidents where he would ask me to make up an account, you know, and spread hatred, you know, via that made up account, which if to my memory serves me right, I never done it as such because I felt I wanted to defend the guy openly, but not on the respects of hiding behind like 50 accounts sort of thing.
Can you see if I take your memory back a bit? I was speaking to, or myself and Donna were speaking to you via Facebook Messenger. Okay. Now I believe you were playing the middleman because there was some messages from Decca that he was sending to you for you to send to me, and the messages which we've got is he was wanting me to make an apology video and say that he wasn't a convicted paedophile. I don't know if you remember them. Now a lot of them, all the messages apart from one was forwarded messages, like as if somebody forwarded them on to you and you forwarded them on to me. It says forwarded, but there was one message. It came directly from your messenger to me, and it was Decca's voice. And I've never put it out there yet. And he was asking to come and meet, and it was directly from your Facebook Messenger. Did he ever have any?
He had no access to any of my accounts or phones or anything back then. I think how that one got onto my messenger, I downloaded that as opposed to just forwarding it over to you. You know, I would never let anybody have access.
No, I just wondered. I forgot to ask you about it because it was just that one message in particular that it didn't come through as forwarded message because he wanted me to make a video, wasn't it? to say for me to make an apology video with him to him, and basically then that would get me off the hook, so I wasn't going to get trolled and all this shit wasn't going to come out if I'd agreed to make that video. However, I didn't have it in me. I was going to act on it and pretend, but there's somebody in this chat right now that said to me, "Don't, John, because you'll regret it." Even playing up to it to try and get that wee bit closer into him, because the following day, after he sent that message, I was 10 minutes from Montrose, and I sent him a voice note via his WhatsApp, because he sent me his number via you to me, and I said I was 10 minutes from Montrose. I wasn't going to drive into his street because he would get the police to me, and I wanted him to meet me at the top of the street. And he never ever replied to that message, and it was only one message I sent him. And the reason I never sent him any more, because I didn't know if he was trying to set me up just to get me arrested. I was 10
Basically,
minutes
all of the stuff that I'd done back then, you know, like I say, where it began was I was just an average Joe off the street, you know, and I'd just seen a lot of hate directed towards the guy, you know, and I took it upon myself, you know, to fire back at some of the people that was like chucking the hate at him. And I think it was around about that time, John, his ex-business partner, tried to pull me.
John
tried to pull me to the side, you know, and explained to me that was it the Clare's Law or the Sarah's Law?
Clare's Law, Sarah's. John done a Clare's Law, Sarah's Law on him. Yes, that's correct. Now,
he was the first one that, besides yourself and, flipping, what's his name?
Birkenhead. Now, we'll reverse back a wee bit first.
You and Birkenhead were trying to show me back then.
That's right. So
the truth of what he was.
If you reverse back to the time when I videoed you, because obviously you were getting on my tits, right? We'll say that you were getting on my tits, and I remember trying to phone you. I was in the room because Decca had you believing that I was just some down and out junkie that had nothing in life, and I was trying to tell you, listen, I don't want to put it out there, but I do all right in life. I've got quite a good life. We've got a good life. And you were under the belief that I was just some down and out with nothing. And I remember opening the drawer because I kept pressing video call until you answered it. And I remember going like that to you with the cash, you know, at the end of the day. And can I show you a wee bit about the house? I can't remember. Like, do I look like a fucking, maybe sound like one, but certainly I'm not down and out. I don't need to rub it in people's faces what I've got or what I've not got. And I remember that because I remember you thinking, I remember seeing the top of your head in the video when I pressed video call. I don't know if you answered me accidentally. And I was probably a bit threatening because I was angry. I was probably just speaking like a day. I don't care, do I? I was particularly angry that day, it's fair to say. And I remember I said to you, you're sticking up for a fucking nonsense. And a known child. Now, when I'm angry saying a known child rapist, right? That's because I know other things that I can't speak about. Or we know other things that we can't speak about. There's things there that's on his acro, there's things that's not on his acro because it doesn't belong in his acro, if you know what I mean. There's other things there that we can't speak about. And I remember saying to you, you know, you're sticking up for like kind of trying to shake some sense into you. I suppose that's the wrong way to do it. And I remember when we go back to John, I remember seeing a comment from John saying that you can listen to me, like, if you don't want to listen to those people, listen to me, I managed them. I've done a Sarah's and Clare's Law and tried to speak some sense into you at that point. But again, how many times was Decca calling you in a day?
Fucking, I mean, it was quite often because, you know, he was asking different tasks, you know, what for me to do. And then even at one point he was, pass the information to my sister.
Right. Okay, so we're talking about Cassie HEGGIE here. Okay.
Right. So there'd be times that he'd be asking me, Can you do this? Can you do that? Now, I was kind of at that stage, picky and choosy, because I thought, hold on, you know, half of this stuff I don't want to fucking do.
Yeah.
And then there was one or two things that I did do, and you know, his sister was involved.
Have we got any proof of that, Steve? Have we got any proof?
I did have it, but I mean, I've deleted everything, you know, to do with all the past. They were getting, it was getting me, instead of sending him information or stuff, or, you know, the video went up with information on that video, or, you know, instead of passing it direct to Decca, it was being passed to his sister.
Right.
Right. So I know his sister was all involved in all of this, still continuing to this day.
Yeah. Okay. So, what about Barry?
So then the point came in my mind. It was around about September, and that was after John had tried to stitch into me, after I went on The Honest Truth, after you numerous, like 10,000 messages from yourself explaining what he was, you know, and my brain wasn't functioning correctly at that time. And I was believing what Decca was saying, that he was innocent, even above all of what you guys were trying to put to me, including Birkenhead back then. And then one day I sat back and I thought, hold on a minute, what the fuck am I doing? All of these people can't be wrong. All of these people can't be lying. You know, there's so much heat on me. They're not doing this, you know, for the sake to wreck my life. They're doing it for the sake to save me, so I can see the truth.
Well, I told you about a lady that came up to me at a funeral and said that. Sorry, I'm just looking at my dog there. Somebody in my family came up to me outside the funeral and said that she had to report a message right on Messenger because a person had contacted her asking some weird questions. She works at a mental hospital. She's quite high up in a mental hospital, asking questions about me, kind of weird questions. She says, I found it very weird, and I said, so what's out? She said, John, I phoned the police, and I went, oh, okay, that's the kind of thing she does. She said they were that weird. I phoned the police. And I said, well, what did the police say? She said they drove out. She said drive out. It was a maybe 16-mile round trip, and took a statement from her. And I thought, what, for a fucking Facebook message? And basically, what the police said was that a certain name, along with another couple of names, it had been widely reported throughout Scotland and I think south of the border was the words they said. Because I was like, oh, okay, now they've came to you to take a statement over a Facebook message. And she said there was not any evilness from the person. It was just the rate or the sheer volume of reports that had been going on. Now, and that was basically it. That I don't know, I've never asked her anything, but she's a professional, what she does, and job wise and life.
So I think back then, I think maybe that was just my kind of a reply, because you was getting in contact with all my friends and all my mates, you know, explaining to them exactly what I was doing. You know, supporting somebody that I shouldn't be supporting.
That was me. I tell everybody. I
think I was fishing maybe for information about you. You know, and then it was at that point that my mates were coming up to me, you know, and giving me some grief. Steve, get the fuck out of this, you know.
Well, see, I knew you'd moved house, right? I knew you'd moved house, and I narrowed it down to 20 houses. 20 houses I narrowed it down to. I knew you were going to be one of these 20 houses.
They were like, Steve, get the fuck out of it. You know, you're supporting someone, you know, that you shouldn't be involved with.
Yeah.
And then I sat back and thought, where the fuck is all this information coming from? How did this guy manage to trace my pals? You know, and then, you know, but I'm glad that you did, to be honest with you, because that was part of the change process for me.
But be fair to say, Steve, right, if you'd carried on, you'd have had you in jail. Yeah, because I it's up to me and Don to forgive you, right? And all the rest of it, like Poison coming and digging at me for that's down to me and Don to forgive somebody. At the end of the day, you believe somebody was innocent. You maybe went a bridge further than other people who went and defending them, but it's down to us to you were just you were under the illusion that the guy was innocent and we were the bad people.
See when my mates came and explained that side to me, because I wasn't listening to you guys, you know.
No, I fucking know you weren't. I know you weren't listening.
It was kind of going in one ear and out the other, and really, you know, it should have gone in one ear, circle around my brain, take it in, absorb it, and get the fuck out.
Yeah.
You know, but unfortunately, you know, I was probably one of the slowest ones to come on and realise what the truth really was.
In all fairness, Steve, you were in a bad place yourself. Your missus wasn't good, right? Because we didn't know if you were lying about that as well. So we went and found out, Ken, that your missus wasn't good. I'm quite sure you could agree now, we never attacked your missus or nothing like that. I'm quite sure you'd be probably happy to agree that if Decca had told you to jump, you'd have asked how high at that point. I would say, would you say he groomed you? Would you say he groomed you?
He's got to have, because that ain't me to act like that. And, you know, my mates would tell you, you know, I'm not a bad guy. My shit stinks, but I'm not a bad guy.
You're not a bad guy, I know. You did put cornettles out on the counter for sale.
That weren't me.
That funny.
that weren't me. Who told you that, Craig?
Doesn't matter.
Who was that, Craig or Kyle?
Doesn't matter, no. I found that funny though. That was the funny side of it, finding wee things like that. You weren't, you've done stupid things.
Do you know my biggest regret in all of it, in all of this? I didn't listen to you, right?
I think John, the ex-manager, you should have really listened to.
And my second biggest regret is I regret not listening to John.
Yeah. He was got to come and meet you, He was got to come
back then. He was. You know, it took my mates to attack me. You know, for me to have the true understanding that you guys were telling the truth. Right?
Yeah.
That was part of my change process, because I thought, hold on a minute, my pals around me are sinking one by one at me, ready to fucking kill me, just because I supported the nonce. Now, that's how good the mates that I had.
Yeah.
You know, that's how highly they thought of me to save me. You know, so I'm proud of what Kyle done.
Well, what I've got to say, and speaking of Kyle, right? We'll dedicate this tonight to Kyle, yeah? Because Kyle died, didn't he? Under suspicious circumstances. The boy died. He's found dead in the garden, I believe. His ex-girlfriends or something. I never ever met the boy. But we'll get
top lad he is, John. Yeah. Absolute. And now, you know, for you to get in contact with Kyle, Kyle's he's a top boy in Telford.
Yeah.
And you know, he put enough pressure on me to shake the cobwebs off the lies of what Decca was putting in front of me, to seeing the truth that you was promoting. You know, so, and I promised Kyle, I made a promise to Kyle in all of this. You know, that I wasn't going to be supporting Decca anymore, and I was going to come off YouTube and not come back onto the YouTube platform because of the amount of stress that I had created by believing Decca and it coming into my personal world. You know, that put stress on him, because then he had to put the stress on me. And, you know, before I could get a personal talk with him, he got murdered.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to say,
But
mate.
I held up that promise that I gave him. You know, that I ain't gonna get involved in fucking drama, bullshit, Decca. And I did make another promise that I wasn't going to have another YouTube channel. But if he was alive now, I think he would see the difference. You know, this is the true me. You know,
I massive respect to the boy, because when I first spoken to him, he thought I'd trolled him, to be honest. It was just one comment, and then I ended up speaking to him in Messenger. We ended up video calling each other. And him and his girlfriend that he was with, and he was going with at the time, spoke to me and Donna for a while. And he said to me, "Don't worry about this, Ken. I'll speak to Steve." Yeah, he said, "I'll speak to him." And that was basically it. And then we just kind of kept in touch and that. And then I'm kind of laxy daisy answering people sometimes. Ken, sometimes it depends how busy things are. And I sent him a message, blah blah blah, just thanking him and all the rest of it. He get back to us, and then he sent me one, and then it was maybe 4 days or something after he sent it. I noticed it, replied to it, and they never get back. And then that's how I got in touch with other people out within Kyle, who then I learnt that he was bloody dead. And I thought, wow, you know, so I think we'll put this in memory of him, because he was sound. As I say, I only spoke to him a few times in video phone and that, maybe over a space of a couple of months. But yeah, sound lad. I'm quite sure that.
He thought a lot of his friends, his friendship group. Sorry, hi people. Something that I took from the conversation you were having with him, and looking at his Facebook and stuff when you were talking to him. He clearly, you know, it's a shame that people, like you've just said, Steve, he was a staunch fella, in as much as, and if you look at his backstory as well, he would take one for the team. I didn't know the guy, obviously, but the fact that he
was good to his word.
He was good to his word.
And I like people good to their word. I've got mass people who are good to their word. A few and far between nowadays, and also somebody as well, right, who I'm going to thank. It was Ronan, because Ronan really tried hard to kind of be mediator between myself and you, Steve. He tried hard. I remember one night coming on, but I'd come in, I was late, and I'd only watched 5 minutes. I never watched what you'd said up until that point. So it was only 5 minutes again. It's no watching everything in full. I only heard you saying the bad things, so I was like fucking wound up again.
See, back on towards the beginning of December, I was actually, you know, on the back end of talking to Ronan, and I would phone Ronan on occasions.
Yeah.
And there'd be something on my mind, and I'd phone Ronan, and I'd say, Ronan, look, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? And Ronan would then give me his opinion. And I said to Ronan, all the way back, maybe the beginning of December, I said, I'm getting the fuck out of this. I said, there's something not right. And then it was at that point that I got shown the video of the phone call between him and his mum.
Yeah.
And as soon as I finished listening to that, I said, nah, fuck it. This cunt's lying. He's made me out to be a right cunt. You know, I feel sorry now. For the people just tuning in. Every person that has spoken out and said that he's done something to him. John's not lying. The other John's not lying. My pals aren't lying. These other people on the internet that are coming at me with the truth, like Birkenhead and, you know, a few others, they weren't lying. And I remember phoning Ronan, and I said to Ronan, I said, "Here, there's a video going about." I said, "I'm out of this." I said, "He's guilty as fuck." I said, "But find the video, watch the video, and tell me what your opinion is." And I think he found the video, watched it, and then that was it then. It was at that point I was 1,000,000% sure that all you guys were telling the truth. Now,
so the video Steve's referring to here is a recorded call that was leaked onto the internet regarding DECCAHEGGIE and his mum Barbara Heggie, Barbara Parker, sorry. There was a leaked, it wasn't leaked, basically he'd recorded every call and he'd sent every call that he'd done to a certain female. And basically what he was trying to do, the way I look at it, was he was priming his mum up to explain to the female friend that had just done a Sarah's and Claire's Law on him that he told to do, which was then recorded because of COVID. An alleged police officer phoned the girl and started putting things that was on his Claire's Law and his Sarah's Law. This was also leaked onto the internet. And then the mum's phone call was leaked onto the internet where he was talking about the 11-year-old and he was talking about the house fire, a family home that he was meant to have taken money for. He was talking about a woman called Dot who's on this channel that we never mentioned to anybody.
And the sentence on that got me, that sealed the deal for me, was if anything more comes out, they can all think I'm a sex case.
Yeah, because it's like
I didn't have to listen any further than that.
Yeah.
You know, that sealed the deal for me, that realised that, oh, fuck, I've made the biggest fucking mistake in the world that one person could do by defending the undefendable person, and everybody around me that was trying to convince me otherwise, they are correct, they are right, they are telling the truth. This guy's a fucking wrong un through and through. Now, it was at that point then that Gary was kind of on the scene then. Now,
Gary Smith from
Crime Scene, yeah, he was kind of on the scene then, and I was kind of like surmising in the middle between Ronan on my left and Gary on my right. Now, my opinion all the way from this, and I said this to Decca from day dot. I said to Decca, I said, if it turns out at any fucking point that you're lying to me, I said, I'm going to chuck you under the fucking bus. Meaning, you know, I'm going to be sat here one day like how I am now, you know, because it was inevitable this was going to happen. But I never thought in a million years that you would have accepted my apology, you know, when I came across sincere and meant it. Now, Gary made a statement at the same time that I did. And he said, Decca, no matter whether you're guilty or innocent, so on my hand, I said, if you're lying to me or I find the truth, I'm going to chuck you under the bus. But Gary's opinion, now this is why I kind of fell out with Gary. He made the statement, oh, Decca, don't matter if you're guilty or innocent, I'll still support you. Now, that was round about just after Christmas. And that's why I fell out of communication with Gary, because of him making that statement.
If you wait till I'm finished here with Steve, mate, I'll bring you on. I just want to, because Steve was part of that Expose thing the other night, their Decca put out. I'll bring you on after that, mate. What about Gary for Crime Scene Northeast? Because he disappeared, Steve. He's still there. Okay.
Trust me on this. Now, I since the moment that Gary made the statement, after I made the statement,
a Facebook
if you're guilty, I'm going to chuck him on. If he's guilty, I'm going to chuck him under the bus. That was my statement. Now, Gary made a statement beginning of January to me, and he said it to Decca, and I'm trying to think who else can confirm that. He said, no matter if Decca's guilty or innocent, I will still support him. So,
sorry,
you know, because he made that statement to me, I felt, well, I can't keep in communication with this guy if he's going to support a fucking beast. I dropped all communication.
Right, Gary,
and then John, the next point I got, right, was Dodgy Dave's trick. Dodgy Dave messaged me off like numerous different numbers. I think he was trying to inkle if I was in with Decca still or not. And he sent me a message saying, Steve, pretending to be Decca to see what my response would be, to see if I was still in communication with Decca, which I wasn't. He sent me a message saying, Steve, it's Decca. I'll give you £500 up front if you open up 5 accounts and troll these guys for me.
Right. Who said this?
This was Dodgy Dave trying to trick me, tried to trick me into believing it was Decca to see what my reaction would be. Because I'd said to everybody I weren't involved with Decca no more, I think he'd done that just to see if I was in contact with him.
Right.
And unfortunately, you know, I knew something weren't right from that email, and I didn't bother.
Yeah. So when Dodgy Dave done this, I believe it a price as well, or as I refer to him as Tim Prick. Tim Price. You knocked the offer back, is that? But Tim Price accepted the offer, but he wanted 2 pints and a pie a week. It was like 25 quid a month or something he was asking. Something to... Sorry, my Wi-Fi is just breaking in. It's my dog's running up and down the stair. Is it open, son? Aye. So if you lose me, I'll be back. It's just my Wi-Fi is cracking out. So did you speak to Gary Smith personally, Steve?
I had communication with him, obviously, in the background. You know, that's how we set up to do that podcast that I'd done with Gary, Crime Scene Any, and then we done one with Nancy Boy. So I was as much in communication with Gary as I was with Ronan, and you know, Ronan would say it wasn't often that I'd contact him back then, but I would contact him, Ronan, with questions saying, look, what do you think of this? Because, you know, I think this is something dodgy here. It was the same with Gary. You know, I was trying to get the feel for Gary to see where he sat, you know, as regards to Decca. But Gary had always said, you know, he was always sat on the fence until, you know, solid proof had come out. But realistically, I mean, he was 100% behind supporting him. You still with us, John? But one thing I do know what's eating away at...
Steve, if you can just keep talking there a minute, I'm going to jump Wi-Fi splitters here. Just stay on the line. I'll come out and come back in, right?
Yeah. See, one thing I do know, you know, out of all of this, it's totally eating away at that fucking dirty nonce, Decca. You know, that Danny Christie's made it, and he's made a full career for himself. You know, and that's eating away at fucking Dickie. You know, because he's lost everything and Danny's gained everything, and Danny's only gained that through himself. You know, so where Dickie keeps saying, oh, Danny's made it because of me, he hasn't. Danny's made everything for himself off his own back. You know, he's 10 times the fighter that Decca could ever be. And, you know, that's just chewing away at Decca. And, you know, it's making him really, really jealous. But I'll go back to where we get to January. I received numerous WhatsApp messages off a couple of different numbers, and one of the text messages was offering me £500 to make 5 accounts and to troll numerous individuals. And, you know, I weren't in contact with Decca then, and I didn't want any contact with Decca whatsoever. I'd wiped the floor with him. You know, the back end of December, I realised everybody, John, everybody that was coming at me with all the information left, right and centre, you know, was telling the truth. You know, it's just through my thickness and the way that I was manipulated to be believing Decca's bullshit and lies coming out of his mouth over everybody else. You know, but I made a stern point then. You know, I weren't having nothing more to do with him. And that's exactly like the path that I took from then. And, you know, that's the path, you know, that I'm on now. But unfortunately, that crime scene NE guy, he made a statement and was saying, no matter whether Decca's guilty or innocent, he's still going to support Decca. Now, I couldn't understand why a person would realise, you know, that everyone was telling the truth about the dirtiness of the crimes that, you know, Decca had committed towards, you know, all these females. And I couldn't understand how, you know, that crime scene NE could still support somebody knowing full well
what he was.
Yeah, and you know, I couldn't and for that fact alone, I couldn't stay in contact with somebody like that.
But you do know there's a wee bit of history between them all. So see this thing about was there ever any mention about me being in this Fern Fellers? Did you ever hear this mention? No. Because somebody popped up with a story that I was part of Fern Fellers. Now, anybody that doesn't know who Fern Feller was, it was a group set up by the late NFA'S Speed, and it was basically collecting money, charity money, for fallen soldiers that maybe died without families. It was getting them a wreath for the funeral. It was doing what it could, right? I never seen anybody scamming any money, right? The NFA'S Speed died. Now, all of a sudden, then I was then created into this Fern Fellers group in London. And then the attachment came from there to Dave Courtney, saying that I was then attached to Dave Courtney. A lot of things, everybody asks why a lot of things come back to Dave Courtney's. Well, okay, Dave Courtney, Decca was born at Dave Courtney's, basically. That's where it started. But people slowly but surely started clicking on that there's something wasn't just right with him. Okay. An incident happened, which I can't speak about, right? And Decca can, if people want to talk about trolling Decca, people had an opinion of Decca as far back as 2016 for what we can see. And I'm talking names like John Wedger. I'm talking that your armchair detective and all these people had a very bad opinion of DECCAHEGGIE way back then. We can prove this. But all of a sudden, they had to stop speaking about them. And I didn't know any of this stuff. This is just something we've only found out recently. About a year ago, when we started looking right into what's this, because 76% or something of our viewers come from London. If you look at the charts, which only we can see, the support we've got from London is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now, that might be due to something that you can Google, a story that was done by The Guardian, which, again, I don't like it because somebody's put the keywords.
John, can I ask you something?
Uh-huh.
How did that fucking Tom Price prick, how did he get involved?
Right. So basically, Tim Price was a taxi for Paula Williamson, Charles Salvador, late wife, who died.
Is he that?
He was a taxi driver for her. He then started driving about with a mannequin, thinking that he was running about with Charles Bronson in the fucking car. He was deluded, right? He then started raising money for Free Salvador. He had banners across his front of his house. He was getting jackets printed and all the rest of it. He wanted to be in the limelight. Okay, now he went on to Decca's Facebook page, and started bigging Decca up again. People contact people and say, "Listen, you're bigging the wrong person up. Charles Salvador will not like you siding up with that animal." Yeah, but unbeknown to us, Salvador had kicked him to the curb because it's a bad day when Charles Bronson says you're off your fucking head. Yeah. And basically, that's what happened with Tim Prick. He tried to get into the limelight. He said that he outed bad workmanship at a nursing home, and created a story about how he was going to expose staff for neglecting patients, right? And it turned out it wasn't. It was a fucking chocolate factory he worked at. The Nestle factory down there he was working in.
So he was saying that he was protecting children by stopping the chocolate from being dirty, wasn't it?
Aye, something. Come sit here. I've got to bring Donna in. She'll tell you a wee bit about Charles Salvador's findings, like we found out the hard way.
Yeah, you asked the question, how did Tim Price, I'm just going to call him by his name's Tim Price. He changed it apparently to stop harassment from telesales, because he felt, anyway, he was in the papers about it. So that's the Price business. I first became visually acquainted with him so I'm explaining this in order to answer your question, in about 2016. So he wasn't on my radar. That would be ridiculous to say, but when he cropped up in support of Decca, I was actually quite surprised. He has I would classify him as a glory hunter. Yeah. He tries to attach himself to people that have got have public interest. So a number of authors, Paula, who, as John knew, I had brief conversations with her. So that's how I know that he took her to the prison a couple of times, I think, and he may or may not have. The wedding, is that correct? I'm not sure. I didn't know.
I've got pictures of him.
Right, okay. So I knew that he'd taken Paula to Wakefield. I'm not going to name drop, but a few people were talking to him. He got some jackets printed. And so he does things for some sort of notoriety, like parking a van outside of his house with various political messages on it and things like that. So how did he get involved with
well, I'll let you say your bit and I'll say my bit.
And then I believe that Decca, he was being paid. Was it like a pie and a pint?
Well, that's what he asked when he was talking to Dodgy Dave. But the reason, there's one man who doesn't get mentioned very much, right? But he's responsible for a lot of emails that go to people with lies, and his name is John Silver. John Leonard Silver.
I've heard, that name's going back some time, isn't it? I mean, it's before my time on YouTube.
John Leonard Silver is somebody who wants recognition from everybody he's ever been with.
John, did he ever do a video in his front room and he had like an ID card or something round his neck?
Yeah, absolutely. And
is that guy you're talking about? That one?
Yeah, that is him. He, I mean, I don't want to labour the point for a period of time. I think that he's mentally unstable, but his reality is that he was in some way managing or promoting Decca. There was books issues, and he feels that he has a God-given right to various people's success. He's very angry, but he was actually trolling Decca in 2017, along with Sammy Lee, a girl called Claire Price. I don't know if Claire Price is related to Tim Price, but they're less than 100 miles away from one another. Claire Price is in an area of South Wales which adjoins where Tim Price was. Claire Price is still in communication with Decca. And can we prove all of this? Well, actually, last year I put a video up about it, didn't I? I might actually put that up again.
Am I right in saying, Donna, that you know that prick? I'll say prick. Was he something to do with a mannequin he put outside the school, and he got a load of fucking grief for it? I thought that was a bit weird of a person.
No, he had the mannequin, and I believe the mannequin is still part of his life. He's a sort of like what I would. He does things to gain notoriety, very much like John Silver.
Yeah, John Silver turned his back on. Colin S. Wood took John Silver to a charity thing in memorial of the craze. He pulled out a knife in it. He was asked to leave the party. Hang on 2 seconds. All right. He was asked to leave the party. Then John Silver has been in about everybody. He was the one who was in the ring filming the Julius Francis fight with DECCAHEGGIE. That Julius Francis now comes out and said it was just a carry on, basically. John Silver was also in with Norman Buckland. And Norman, I have met personally, and he's a gentleman. Was he a gentleman back in the day? I don't know. I can only take as a find. He's an absolute gentleman. That much of a gentleman, he actually took all his gold off and put it around my neck, and I've got a picture. It made me feel like a celebrity that night.
Okay, and
he's a lovely big guy. Yeah, an absolute big gentleman there, guy. And basically what happened was Norman was selling T-shirts. John Silver wanted a piece of that pie. The problem with John Silver is John Silver sold his soul for a cheeseburger. Yeah, he sold his soul for a cheeseburger because John Silver expected money off of people like myself to go and out DECCAHEGGIE. I didn't want John Silver involved with it. Why? I spoke to him once, and he basically put his live on and tried to get me. I was anonymous at the time, and he tried to become silly buggers with me. And you only get one swipe at that. You don't get a second chance.
Well, up until this time last year, he was still pretending to be Humble Dryer.
Yeah, he was pretending to be. He was out saying, "I am Humble Dryer" and all the rest of it. DECCAHEGGIE, you know, he was like making a complete and utter arse of it, as is a lot of people like your Burkitts and that. Anyway, so basically what happened was John Silver sold his soul to Decca for a cheeseburger for a tenner. That was basically what he wanted, right? And at that point, John Silver, up until that, John Silver had armed response at him, asked him to leave his flat one night, and he videoed it live. Armed response were at his door. The police were watching it because they were saying, "Right, John, put your phone in the stairs. Do not come out with your phone in your hand. You trigger, happy trigger people sitting at the doors with spotlights in his head, and he's walking out with a phone trying to video it live." Anyway, basically what happened was John Silver, Donna done a live with him one night, and the reason I'm getting to this because he could not get onto his John Silver profile because they were getting reported all the time. This was Facebook, so he went onto a profile called Tony Law. Now, the reason I'm bringing Tony Law up is because it was a profile that he denied. There'd been a lot of shit done to people from that profile.
It's still an active profile.
And it's still active, okay?
It wasn't the Tony Law one, wasn't the one.
So, basically what happened was, just recently, it's changed its first name, but a profile by the surname Law has been messaging people behind the scenes and putting out lies about Michael Sayers. And I mean lies, I'm talking about raping women. Yeah. And it's got, there's a few people. John Silver is in with Sammy Lee. Sammy Lee is friends with Poison. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then they groomed Richie Pickin again, the guy who said that I'd paid Geraldine and then made a video just before Christmas and put it out saying that he lied about that because he was getting harassed to death off Decca and that. So you've got Sammy Lee, Poison, everybody. Sammy Lee makes out she gets trolled, and all she does is every guy she ever meets either becomes a rapist or somebody who just a domestic abuser, right? Every guy. She went into a police station, recorded the conversation, and then came and asked us to look at it. She was trying to say that somebody who was in her film had raped her. The guy had went on to Jeremy Kyle and failed the lie detector test on Jeremy Kyle regarding having an affair with his wife behind his wife's back. And so you've got all these fucking idiots in the background emailing people, telling people lies, who jumped ship to troll on behalf of DECCAHEGGIE. And
so Paul back then was actually a troll on behalf of Decca. Then I take it.
Basically, yes. Basically, John Silver jumped ship. Now, Colin S. Wood said to me, it's all about doing the right thing. Well, the right thing is, Colin, yeah? And I'm not having a dig at Colin here, because when I spoke to Colin a couple of times on video phone, he made it clear to me that things that was said about Colin from other people, like John Silver, some of it was true, i.e., DECCAHEGGIE stayed with Colin S. Wood a few years ago, maybe 2018, whenever it was. I don't know particular dates. DECCAHEGGIE did take Colin S. Wood's wife's car to the other side of wherever they stayed and wouldn't bring it back. He went stalking a nurse. So he did. He went stalking a nurse with Colin S. Wood's car, wife's car. He then offered Colin S. Wood money for his daughter to give Decca a blowjob. This is words from Colin S. Wood. And I asked Colin S. Wood, why on earth would you then consider going back on the DECCAHEGGIE bandwagon? And he told me that the Tyson Fury camp had their eyes on Decca. And it was all about doing the right thing. So basically it was money, yeah? And I said, well, I'm sorry, but I've not got a price. It was Colin S. Wood that told me that Diet Chips was going to go and do an enhanced DBS check to see what come back on that. Because depending on what come back on the father's enhanced DBS check would deter whether he got one for the son or not. Diet Chips is calling the shots, yeah? But you had your criminologist, Darren Laverty, helping Decca 3 years ago, which has been confirmed by somebody else at another channel. He's rubbed shoulders with John Hemmings, MP. He was his Mackenzie friend. You know, again, it gets deep, yeah? Somebody said to me, by fuck, that hasn't Decca half, has he not half got a troll army behind him? Well, yeah, he did. I believe now they're jumping ship. In a big way, they're jumping ship. Unfortunately, the ones that's left behind, does Decca have something in Sean Atwood? Yes, I believe so. I believe Decca's got something on Sean Atwood, or I could be wrong. Somebody asked me, why did you fall out with Ron Swans? And I'll tell you exactly why. When you know what somebody is, right? When I heard the recorded call between Ron Swans and DECCAHEGGIE, I was fucking furious because they were talking about hacking James English and all the rest of it, right? At that point, I'd just been hacked. I'd been hacked. I was furious. But everybody then So, you know, I'm not going to say what's been spoken about in the past, but when I hear somebody then goes back and fucking speaks to him, yeah, and kind of brushes everything under the carpet, it doesn't matter. And then the same, on the other hand, making a supposed to be helping making a documentary that goes against them. I've not got any time for these people. You're either there or you're there. You can't be sitting in the fence. Once you've seen that acro, once you've spoke to victims, you can't be sitting in the fucking fence. You know what I mean? There's no fence.
John, there's so much out there at the moment. Going back to the phone call between him and his mum, there's been numerous videos made from a couple of survivors. And, you know, what I want to say to the people out there, you know, the ones that are still supporting him and the ones that, you know, are still sat on the fence, please go and watch the documentary that AC Coming Back to Life has done. If you're not going to listen to any of the other stuff, listen to that interview. Now, I'm on the understanding there's many victims out there, and, you know, the truth, the 55-page acro is absolutely fucking legit and real.
100%. Even to make a false document of that acro, and as Donna said earlier today, to make a false document of the sign of the acro sign and use that as a fucking jailing offence.
You know, and
if anybody wants to believe that somebody went to the expense or whatever to make up that fake document, think about it. If they were going to make up something fake, there would have never have been so many NFA'S on it. Never in the month for Sundays.
This guy has had numerous years, right, to put his paperwork out there and to prove his innocence. And, you know, the why he can't do that is because last year, I remember this specifically. I'll give you facts, people. Right? Last year, Decca was telling me he's got no NFA'S, he's got no sexual crimes on his record, and it came out probably January, right? That he then said, "Oh yeah, I tapped a bird on the arse in a dance hall, and you know that's a sexual conviction." Then he was saying to the public, his subscribers, and to everybody else in the world, they're lying. I've got no NFA'S. I've got absolutely no NFA'S for nothing. They're bullshit and they're lying. So why the other day did he come out and make a video and say that, you know, I've spoken openly about 2 GRAPE allegations on my record? So he's gone from having absolutely nothing and he's clean. There's nothing wrong with his record. And, you know, all of a sudden he's coming out and saying, oh, but I've openly spoke about having 2 GRAPE allegations.
No, he's not. You're right. He's never spoken about it.
He lied from the very start by saying he had no NFA'S and no nothing, to coming out and saying that he's got 2 GRAPE allegations. What I believe, my opinion, right? I think that there's at least 7 GRAPE allegations against him.
Yeah, at least. Between these clears, bear in mind, I've heard these clears law and I've heard these acro, right? I've then heard people like Dot's story. Donna's then worked the dates and all the rest of it. Bear in mind, when that recorded call came out between him and his mother, I knew that wasn't staged. The reason why, when Dot's name was mentioned, I thought, you bastard, because Dot doesn't have social media. Dot has never been mentioned, right, up until that phone call come out. And I'm going to say, if anybody, the Dot's a lovely lady. We've never met her personally, right? But we know people who has met her now personally. And all I'm going to say, if you watch that wee documentary there, the podcast we done with Alex Kearney, interviewed Dot and spoke to Dot. If you want to say that woman's lying, right? Well, I think body language says it all for a start. She's no reason to lie. She doesn't do social media. She still doesn't bloody watch television. And she didn't know about Geraldine. Bearing in mind, Geraldine used to get it if she was watching Coronation Street. Now, Donna said that's quite a common thing for people at that stage where Decca allegedly is, to be jealous of things like Coronation Street. It's all about the coercive control. I find it fucking crazy. I find it absolutely nuts. Like, we've all had a bit of jealousy in my life, right? Let's face it. There's no one of us can probably, not one of us could say that we've never felt what jealousy feels like. It's a horrible thing, yeah? I do not suffer from it. I used to suffer from it, but I don't. It's like when I first got with Donna, she was expecting me to phone her 30, 40, 50 times a day, or message her 30, 40, 50 times a day. And I'm like, she's like, yeah, I'm like, but I'm not, I shouldn't be messaging you because you're away, you're going shopping, that's when you get left alone, you know, going to do women's things. But then when you realise what it was like for somebody to live with somebody for 14 years beforehand, and it was only normal to get 30, 40, 50 bloody text messages in an 8-hour working day, you think, right. So I didn't understand that coercive, but Geraldine, he used to peek round to see if she was watching Coronation Street and go mental. It's like there's a girl he fell in love with, right? He never ever met, and he went absolutely berserk at her. She's like, oh, you're lovely, blah, blah, blah. And then it quickly, over a series of messages, he fucking flipped his lid. He was telling her he's got to give her an arse, like a hipple's yawn. He was... And then he was messaging another girl saying, why are you watching Naked Attraction? I've never seen a decent cock on that. You know, guys, I've had a wee peek at Naked Attraction. It's not for me, but I never looked at the cocks. Just to make that clear. And I'm quite sure most guys on here can read between the lines of what I'm referring to there.
I certainly haven't done a full appraisal.
No. I mean, to watch it, to then look at the cocks, well, I'm going to say my assertion there is Decca's in the closet. He's gay, bisexual gay. And his frustration because his dad runs about calling him a poof every day, big poof, and that's came from several people. I think Decca wants to come out that closet, but because his dad is the boss, he will not come out. I asked his dad a question. Do you not think you're... Stop calling me Mike. I'm no Mike. My name's Humble. And he kept calling me Mike. And I just come out with it and I said, do you not think your son might be gay? And he went, I've thought about it often, you could be right. He took the wind from me because I thought, wow, I didn't expect that. I did not expect that he would have come out and said, yeah, I thought about it, it could be. I mean, I actually sat back. It was definitely his dad I was talking to at the time through private messenger on the Humble channel. I'm trying to say to him, mate, my name's no Mike, right? He's like, Mike. And I went, mate, my name's no Mike. But if you're happy calling me Mike, it's Mike. So when they come in and called me Humble, I said, no, my fucking name's Mike. You've wanted to call me Mike for weeks. My name's Mike. And he said that I asked him if I thought his son was gay, expecting him to kind of fly off the handle at me. I was trying to kind of see the way into his psychology of him. And he said, yeah, I've thought about it often. Then, since then, I've spoken to people like John and Dodgy Dave and that, and they say, yeah, his dad just calls him a big poof all the time. It's a poof, that's a poof, that's a poof, that's the way he talks to him in the house. So, is DECCAHEGGIE bisexual gay? I'm going to put my money on it, yeah. I'm going to say he masturbates to Danny Christie. And I'm not being funny saying that. I'm being honest when I say that. I really believe he masturbates to Danny Christie. He's in love with Danny Christie, somebody he can't have.
He's very jealous of Danny Christie because Danny Christie's made it all on his own. He ain't done it through the back end of Decca's name. You know, Danny was always the one in my eyes. You know, he's 10 times a better fighter.
Well, all you need to say, who's been trolled? The person that can go and say his name 100 times in every bloody video for the last 4 years, or the person with a court order who's no mentioned his name in 3 years. So who's been trolled?
He's eating away at Decca that Danny's made it, and he's very successful. The same way that I'd say that Paddy Conroy is jealous of the Sayers.
Decca told everybody the reason that I had a gripe with him is because he'd had Donna out a barrel. Yeah, and now it's came to light that guess what? He's never even met her. You know what I mean? Because that was easy for him to say. It was easy for Barry to go to his work and say, that humble's angry only because is fuck Donna.
Can I back a little bit?
Sorry?
John, can I take this back a little bit? Because
I only go.
How did you first get involved in this? Was it through...
I was like you. I was a stupid bastard believing him.
Was he in contact with your daughter or your stepdaughter? And that's
no,
how... I believe you was the first one to have, other than John, the ex-business partner. You had Declare and Sarah's Law, didn't you?
What happened was, I'll tell you exactly. I'll even put the camera on here to tell you this. Hang on, I need to take that banner away. Hang on, because I like to say this looking at a camera, so I'm not looking away. So basically, what happened was, somebody close to me was self-harming. Okay, she was young. She was self-harming, and I didn't know what the fuck to do. I was one of these idiots that plunked mental health into Facebook. And up pops DECCAHEGGIE on an ITV news thing. It was a news bulletin from kind of hurting to healing, bare knuckle fighter, blah, blah, blah. Just watch your Steve. If you're doing one of them, mate, turn your camera off. Folk will report you. And so basically what happened was, I'd plunked the mental health thing into Facebook, and up pops, because I was at a loose end. Didn't know how to deal with somebody close to me self-harming. I'd never understood it before. I'd never understood having a safe box, which means any instruments in the house are clean. So if they cut themselves, at least they're not getting any infections. Anyway,
yeah,
I started following them on Facebook. And I started watching these ITV news and thinking, oh well, this guy's done well. He's brilliant. He's been a bare knuckle. He's the governor. I've got the governor. I've got that mentality. The governor, you know, this governor thing, this governor belt. He's now giving mental health advice. He's jumping in baths, cold baths. He's doing cold water method, and I'm thinking this is it. And I nearly got that person. I nearly tagged her. And in the DECCAHEGGIE mental health thing. Anyway, I commented a couple of times saying, well done, mate, proud of you, blah, blah, blah. You know, somebody coming from a scheme, doing well, you're on the 6 o'clock news, brilliant, well done. So that was that. And then after a couple of days, it was Danny Jackson, the name was, right? I didn't know that boy existed. So... it was Danny Jackson, but Decca kept making these videos saying I'm getting trolled. Can there's voice notes out there, and I'm like that. Can they're calling me a paedophile, or calling me a rapist, what? And I'm like that. Wow. So I started commenting, saying, "Fucking what a prick!" And mate, just go and sort them out. Go and sort this dick out, yeah. In between, so let's say it was tonight. Tomorrow morning I wakes up. And I comments again on one of Decca's videos, can go and sort this. I still haven't got any videos of this Danny Jackson. He's not mentioned his name at this point. So the next thing, my house phone goes. And I'm like, he's like, hey, what are you saying to it? It's called me by my nickname. I went, no bad, mate. Blah, blah, blah. He says, I see you following that DECCAHEGGIE on Facebook. And I went, yeah. I said, he's doing all right for himself, isn't he? And he went, yeah, just watch him. He said when he moved away from Carlisle for a while, and he lived in this area, and I don't want to. He's quite a humble guy. He said I don't want to badmouth him a lot, but the things that was left about him isn't nice, and that's as far as he would go. He wouldn't go in with the hatred a lot. He just said, "Listen, just watch what you're doing there." So with that in mind. I thought, okay, because that was out of his character. That guy who phoned me, it wasn't in his. It just wasn't him to phone you up and say, watch. And I said, how did you know I was following him anyway? And he says, because I follow him. Right? He says, because I know about him. He says, well, just watch. And I went, all right, no worries. Now, the guy who phoned me, I wasn't friends with him on Facebook. Some things you keep separate, right? You don't need to have friends on Facebook. Some things you just keep because you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I commented on Decca's page one day under my own profile, John Wason, and I went, mate, listen, you've got a guy calling you a nonce and all the rest of it. Go and fucking give him that. And he came in and went, I've got bigger things set in life. I'm in this movie and I'm doing this. I don't want to get arrested. I've moved on in life. Whilst I've left that comment, I've got sent a video of Danny Jackson, i.e. Danny Christie. And I've said to Danny openly now, the first video I watched of Danny, I thought, what a prick you are. You big-headed wanker. I'm on at Decca saying, listen, fucking get him sorted, mate. He's calling you the worst names possible. He's calling you the worst names. Get that sorted. He went, no, I'm not going to get arrested. I've moved up. I'm doing movies. Mate, I said, get him sorted. You're not going to get arrested. Arrange to meet him in a field, yeah? And just fucking sort it. You don't need to kill him. You've got them there. You say you can use them. Go and use them. He blocked me. But before I get blocked, I was attacked. And I mean attacked by people. He's moved on in the world. What you try to encourage violence? I'm not trying to encourage fuck all. I'm just saying go and deal with something. Instead of moaning about it on Facebook, go and fucking deal with it. You're meant to be the governor. You're meant to be setting... You've got an example here, you're this governor. You've got an example here, you're this mental health professional ambassador. Turn the fucking cameras off and go and meet him. He blocked me. I took offence to that. But it was the abuse I got because he'd sent me a friend's request, right? And then noticed that I had one mutual friend in common. Somebody he's fucking terrified of. I'll never mention his name. And he sent me a friend's request and I went, why is this big movie star sending a fucking idiot like me a friend's request? I accepted it, and as soon as I accepted it, he blocked me. Because until you'd sent him or he'd sent you a friend's request, he couldn't block you at that point because he was working from his Facebook channel page. If you don't like a page, yeah, and you cannot get blocked from it. You have to like it and that to hang it before he can block you. He's seen one mutual friend. And Decca will know who I'm talking about, and he'll never mention his name. Why? Because he's shit scared to mention his name. But anyway, the reason that he blocked me is because he's seen that one mutual friend. This one mutual friend of mine, his wife had a lot to say about Decca. Because Decca had started messaging my friends, mutual friend, yeah, his wife, and telling this my mate's wife that she needed a real man, and he said, I've got a real man. Can I'm married to a real man? And he went and then realised who it was. And don't get me wrong, he never came any more shit, but he realised, oh fuck, we're not talking somebody who's just a fucking idiot here. We're talking somebody who's made it big. Like I'm not even going into it, you know what I mean? So he has bum cheeks went from him, and I thought I'm going to fucking teach you some manners, not to block me. I was being genuine. I was supporting you here. You've just ridiculed me with blocking me, but before you block me, I've got attacked from these law-abiding people that support you. You know what I mean? I've been attacked, and I thought, right, I'm going to fucking teach you a lesson in manners, and that's here we are. And then the next thing. Right, if you've got any experience of running any pages or that on Facebook, to get 1,000 people on a Facebook channel or Facebook page is quite hard, right? To get you started. In 24 hours, 500 people.
Bloody hell.
In 24 hours, 500 people on a Facebook channel. Going back a few years ago, that's I know people that run channels to get maybe, I don't know, 1,300 people. It's took them, I don't know, fucking 3-4 years. I had 500 people, and then all of a sudden I had all these girls message me saying, oh, my friend was only 14, he was telling her to take her tampax out, wear her tracky trousers, and I'm like, wow, what the fuck's happening here? Yeah, I'm like, but there was too much yet, the volume was too much, and I'm thinking, fucking hell, what am I dealing with here? I didn't want to hear it. So somebody that runs a big paedophile hunting group, very professional, I've got to say, Guardians of the North, right? Guardians of the North, is it? Yeah, Guardians of the North. A member of their team contacted the page because she's seen the sheer volume of girls underage, they were claiming to be underage at the time. And I'm like, I don't fucking want this. I'm here to rip the arse out of him a wee bit, give him a wee touch of his own medicine. I don't want to fucking hear about this person being raped or this person. I don't want to hear it anyway. She offered anybody, because I was held to confidentiality then. Anybody come with a story, I had to give them a word that I wasn't going to put their story out there. Because nobody trusts you. As soon as you grab that bit of story and you fling it out there, that's it. The trust is gone. So a lady come in, and we never ever spoken names, we spoken numbers. No names, just numbers. Initials and numbers. And I would say there's 8 people so far going to contact you. How many people has been contacted you? Geez, maybe 3, 4. What initials? She'd give me initials, and that's how we worked on who'd been contacting. And she kept a file. That I think it went to the police, to be honest. And then, mate, it fucking got nuts. I seen people from London, big names. We were up at 5,500 people on the Facebook channel. I was getting help for people I didn't know. Some of them.
One thing I want to say now. You know, I want to give a massive shout to the survivors, you know, that have felt the strength and had the courage, you know, to come forward and speak up about what they went through at the hands of Decca. You know, that goes to Geraldine, especially Dot. And also, you know, I want to send a massive love and respect to the ones that haven't been able to find the courage, you know, to come forward. You know, I wish one day, you know, that if you're listening or if you know people that are linked to them, you know, I'm hoping that they can find the courage one day, you know, to come forward. You know, I want to send that massive love and respect to every female, you know, that suffered at the hands of Decca. You know,
yeah, you're absolutely bang on, Steve. I think one of the things, and this is an issue that that never really gets mentioned, is the people around those victims. The people that know something has happened, the families. There's a couple of people that I speak to, and it breaks families, you know. Did it happen? Is he guilty? Why didn't he go to jail? And just sort of like when he, like for example, when he went back to Carlisle, the impact on a couple of families, as well as people who reality is that he's abused them or has affected their family in some way, shape or form, including people who have wanted to go to the police but have literally been terrorized, property damaged. And it's not just Decca's victims. I think people have seen what's gone on there, and it's not really any wonder that the cases are in such numbers as they are. If people are being terrorized by this man, it stands to reason that other people terrorize their victims and victims' families. And so, yeah, thank you for saying that. You're absolutely bang on. You're absolutely bang on.
See, I've had many people come to me, you know, since my transformation and seen the truth and believe every word that you guys have ever said. It's gospel. You know, they come to me and said, yeah, but if he's done all of these NFA'S, why hasn't he been arrested? Well, you know, I'll take the time to answer that one for you, because I've gone through like the grooming gang in Telford, and it's only literally 1.4% of all GRAPE charges actually get to the CPS's hand. let alone, you know, be taken through the court system,
Exactly.
you know, so that these survivors can get their justice. You know, but not only that, there have been a lot of police failings.
But sorry, Steve, so I need to finish it right just quickly. So to get to the Sailors Law, now at the time I was only ripping into him for what I could prove at the time. I was just calling him a bully. Yeah, I seen him bullying people, and I kept it fairly legal. Yeah, still close to the wind, but I kept it legal. But anyway, at the time, my ex-partner, her daughter, Decca liked a few. She liked a picture on his Instagram, and he liked, I don't know, half a dozen of his pictures. The next thing she said, "Oh, hey, you know what? This DECCAHEGGIE's going." I went, "Please tell me how did this happen? You know, I want a clear picture of it." She went, "All right, I liked one picture," and I said, "Do us a favour, please stay away from this." You know. So what happened, mate? On that information, he asked for a telephone number, didn't you, Derek? And I've never put it out to this day, and I won't. It might be included in the documentary, but we'll see how I feel. And it was Decca wanted her telephone number. I gave him mine. And he sent a voice note saying that he wanted to meet who he thought was his stepdaughter in Glasgow for a cup of tea or a coffee or whatever. And basically, it was no dirty chat or nothing like that, but it was enough for me to arm myself with what I needed. Because to go out and call somebody something, you need to be 100% sure of it, right? I wasn't going down the road of calling him a paedophile or anything like that, because I couldn't prove any of it. And that's how I've always come out and said, "Ken, you're a child rapist, allegedly." It keeps you legal. So that on that information I had, I done an application for a Sarah's Clare's Law, but in Scotland, it was a Scottish background domestic check, right? And it basically covered all fields. The only bugger up I did was I said who was what to meet. At the time, she was heavily pregnant. If I'd thought about it, I'd have got it to her mum or something, but I didn't know. But I filled out the application. Now, let's say it was a Wednesday or Thursday night. I can't remember exactly what night it was. The Tuesday morning, I gets a call from Kilmarnock Police asking if we could come to Kilmarnock Police Station with ID, because if there was anything to disclose, they needed photographic ID to prove that who we are before they would disclose it. And we said, well, we're busy today. We can make it to Kilmarnock tomorrow, being the Wednesday. Right, this is 12 hours later. We've got policemen chapping the door. I've answered the door, and the two coppers were asking to speak to the stepdaughter. And I went, regarding what? And they said, "Oh, I'm sorry, we can't disclose this." But anyway, cut a long story short, I had all I needed to carry on. So I've got all these girls. I've got their testimonies and their friends' testimonies and blah blah blah. But I had nothing that I could really, it was just stories. But then when the police come and tell you, it's different. It hits home a bit then. But again, it's never been personal because I've never met him. The stepdaughter's never met him. Donna's certainly never met him. And it's like, everything kind of falls into place. Then you've got to learn about the London thing. Then you've got to fucking learn about this thing. Then you've got to learn about this thing. And then you see who's got a vested interest in them, and then who's not got a vested. It's like you have to sift through all the shit, to get kind of had false allegations come in about we've actually stuck up for him and a couple of things because we knew it wasn't true. But then you find out that fucking things have came for him. The false, he's hoping that we push a false allegation out there, then he's got grounds to stand on. But until we've not pushed anything false out about him, he's not a convicted paedophile. He's not convicted. The reason he's still walking the street is because if you watch his acro, you will see he puts the fucking living death into people. Fear. That's the biggest thing. Police no safeguarding victims. If that was in Scotland, he would not have got by the fucking first hedge, the first hurdle. He'd have been Scotland's a very different way, and maybe a lot of women in Scotland feel left down by the system. But compared to what I see in Carlisle, wow, yeah. So
Carlisle, it's the whole of England and Wales.
Whole England and Wales, yeah. I mean, if you listen to the recorded call between him and his mum, when she says, "If you get done with this once more, you know, you're not going to get away with it again." Wait a minute. How many times he got away with it? So,
exactly. Mate, see, my thoughts on that, John, when I was listening to that phone call the first time, the first thoughts going through my mind was, so how many has he actually done in the past for his mum to make a statement like that? You know,
I'm going to just say it as I find. I think his mum's lives in fear with how she gets treated in that house. I think she lives in fear because she's been groomed all her life to do as she's told.
See, that phone call
Chips is the boss. Chips is the boss.
See, that phone call proved to me that there was numerous times that he had been done or pulled in for questioning over dirty crimes like that.
He's done time in remand. He got remanded for it. The charges get dropped. And the problem you've got is Barry has actually helped a victim that we know of. One victim in particular. She thanked him because she believes if he never broke into the room one day, she might have been dead. Barry knows what I'm talking about here. But see, I think Barry, personally, I think he's a wimp, but I also believe he's been groomed all his life to do as he's told. He's the only person, he's the only man in that house that I've heard, "Don't come to my mum's door." He's the only man in that house, him and Diet Chips. He's the only person that said, "Keep it away from my fucking mum's door." He's the only person, he's the only boy, and I've got a wee soft spot for Barry. As much as he does what he told, and I've got a wee soft spot because he's the only person that said, "Keep it away from my mum's door." The other ones don't give a fuck.
But yet he's there calling people to come to his house to see this and to see that. People that are listening today, there is nothing to see. He hasn't got his SARS acro.
No,
he will never get
people
his
say to me, "Go to his door," and all that's what for, to get me arrested.
That's why John and a couple of others had to put his SARS out there. And it's a legitimate document, people.
I don't need to go to his door. He's only what he's got to do. He can't even come on alive with us. You know, and the profiles that appear saying just go to his door and meet him. We know it's you big nonce, Decca. You're fucking idiot. That's why you can't get me arrested. No, Donna, because we've never lied about you. Or we've never done anything that incites any violence towards you, you big nonce.
Can I just say
your mum knows exactly what you are, and she's defending you. That phone call between you and your mum, right? I was sat there listening to that, and when your mum turned around to you and said, "Oh, if you get done again for that, they're going to think you're a sex case." So, how many? That says to me, it's numerous times that you've been accused, dragged in, and pulled in for GRAPE allegations, because your mum ain't never going to say anything that, if it was only once or twice, your mum ain't going to make a statement like, if they pull you in again, that's 5, 6 or 7 allegations that your mum was knowing about on that phone call to say, if you get pulled in again, they're going to think you're a sex case.
Oh, he's a fucking Ted Bundy of Carlisle.
Steve, one thing I wanted to say, when John was talking about what happened with his ex-partner's daughter, we've spoken about this a little bit. Now, John was Googling or searched on Facebook for mental health advice. And as a direct result of that, he was looking at somebody's profile. Let's take Instagram as an example. When people say, if you've got somebody in your household that is looking at content on their phone, unless they've got no trace selected on their phone, if somebody, so say if John looks at, I don't know, that lad had anything, a specific profile, muscle cars, and there's a specific Instagram profile that he looks at, that will come up in my suggested feed. So the way that we've seen it is that his former stepdaughter probably had Decca come up in her things you might be interested in. No, we discussed it at length. And it's worth noting that if you are going to search DECCAHEGGIE, I probably wouldn't do it in the house if you've got young women in the house.
Because it might show up in their feed.
It probably will show up in their feed. And I think, and this is, again, he's the poster boy of what not to do and the evil monsters under the bed and next door.
You ever spoke to somebody in WhatsApp or something and spoke about maybe the wash machine breaking down, and next thing you go in your feed suggesting you fucking buy a new wash machine?
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Unless you've got no trace or your securities. A perfect example of that is XC Weather.
Weather's a nosy bastard.
You've only got to say the word shoe, and then all of a sudden you're buying custom shoes on Google. So yeah, I just wanted to chip in with that.
XC Weather's probably the worst app.
Yeah.
For getting in.
And people don't click through and select. Like I like terms and conditions. John sat down one day and went through his security settings and the amount of information and access to microphone. So yeah, if you are going to Google anybody, really, if there's something that comes up and you think, oh, that's terrible, specific, we're talking about DH. Yeah, don't do it in the house, or make sure you're.
Or get into your settings.
Yeah.
Get into your security settings and turn every shit
Really
all of
security settings.
All of our smart things in the house and all that now. They've not got permission to use the TV. They've not got permission for the camera. They've got permission for nothing. Even an emoji. Everybody uses an emoji in text, right? That's a third party you're using for the emojis.
Not anymore. It's still, but the third party keyboards. So if you download an app, but the one in iPhone and Android is.
Yeah. So just watch who you invite in if you want your security tight. If you want 100% security, fling your fucking phone over the hedge. Yeah, because listen, it's easy.
Can I buy you a Nokia for Christmas?
No, I don't want any more phones for Christmas. But yeah, that's basically where we are, mate. That's why we're here. But it's the sheer volume of it. So if you get a Sarah's or Claire's lowdown and you hear that, you then get the acro, and then you think Jimmy Savile is a fucking saint. In my opinion of DECCAHEGGIE, Jimmy Savile was a saint.
Fuck you know. I know there's at least I know and what I believe, you know, I think there's at least 5, because I'm referring back to that phone call, because you know, if it was only 1 or 2 times that you've been done,
listen, see, if you said 25, you still probably wouldn't even be close to it.
Fucking hell. You know, my heart just goes out to.
You're talking about a guy who boasts of sleeping with over 400 women. I've not had one woman yet coming up and speaking up nicely for him. Not one.
So that
tells you everything.
You just took the words out of my mouth. I was just about to say, there's not even one of his exes that have come out and spoke highly of him.
Not one.
I find that quite ironic.
I know for a fact, if I was to get wrongly accused of raping, was to go to court, I know I could produce. I'm saying produce. I know there'd be at least 3 or 4 exes that would go to court and say that's not on him. Suppose they fucking hate me, the ground I walk on. I know for a fact they would appear in court and say that's not on him to rape. I've got it.
See, my heart goes out to every lady that's been through hell at the hands of this fucking DECCAHEGGIE, and it's about time that his subs opened their eyes and woke up. Now, in John's videos, you will find one that's the dot story You know, I'd like everybody to have a watch of that. It's on John's channel, and I think it's under Dot Story. You know,
it's a victim.
very brave
speaks
lady
out.
she was for coming out, and this is what his subscribers need to watch. You know, and then they can come out and give an opinion on whether they still support him or not.
I mean, you dodgy Dave saying that he dropped him off at a girl's house just after Christmas on the Friday night, and the Saturday morning the girl was actually phoning Dave saying, please come and get him. He's fucking nuts. Please, he's mental. Get him. Please come and get him. And then you're on his acro, you'll have the police requesting his DNA in June this year. The people that's all got his podcast up there portraying him out to be something all right, innocent until proven guilty, has all got rape on their hands. Whether they like to believe that or not, he's got rape. They've got rape in their hands. Your Sean Atwoods and all the rest of them get rape in their hands. That's my opinion. It's my understanding. That's what I've got, and they can wear that for the rest of their lives because that's not our problem. That's theirs. That's their problem. You know,
but we always have to keep on bringing this to the forefront, you know, because there's always going to be a vulnerable person out there that he's going to manipulate.
Well, he's now charging £4 something now for to come on his live. So you're just got to pay a $5. It was 99p last week to make a comment, and you think of how many people will pay that $5 just to get blocked. His empathy fraud. It has lies like saying I can't drive. No, you can't drive. You fucking failed your test, didn't you? But doesn't mean to say you can't drive. You just can't drive very good.
He can drive. I've seen a video of him driving a car.
Of course he can drive.
I've seen
he's saying he can't drive legally.
Waving out the fucking window, driving with one hand.
But the likes of people, it's like, as we've said, a documentary that these people can look back in 20 years' time and explain to their fucking families why they helped them. There's a lot of people I've not put in the bus, and I'm only got to put them in the bus at the last kick of the ball, who think they're all right because they're not in that bus. You've got that Glenn Seward. He was crying at me a couple of weeks ago to please take a video down. He's behind a channel out there, and I'm just going to fucking see how far he goes. I'm just, you know what I'm like, Steve? I give enough rope to hang themselves.
John, I believe that Gary Crime Scene NE, he has a channel out there.
Well,
I believe he's got that. For the simple fact
he never ever went in on us, but that doesn't mean to say what he's doing is right. He put out a recording like you couldn't even understand. We had to reverse what he used to understand what he was saying in it, and he was basically saying, "Can leave off me, humble, blah blah blah," and all the rest of it. And I had to reverse engineer what he was fucking saying in it to understand. You just find out what apps are using, and then just reverse it back, and then all of a sudden you've got. It's like Crossy. Crossy's been mentioned to be behind a channel called God, what's the name of it now? Venom. Crossy's been blamed for Venom, and I said to Crossy, listen, if we spend the time to go and reverse engineer everything in that thing, and it turns out to be you, I'm going to be more disappointed than anything. And that's why we're just observing right now. Well, also, what you need to remember is we found Christian Fichiari TV on Twitter, right? Christian Fichiari, he called me a wrong'un. I went and found out who he was, and look what I found out who he was. I look and see what he's got hanging over him. A court case that seems to have disappeared. Yeah? And then I wonder, you working for the fucking authorities as well? You know, at the end of the day, money laundering and drug dealing and all the rest of it, he's calling me a fucking wrong'un. Your hands
John, have you heard any update about this anthrax attack and all of that?
The anthrax thing, right? This is a strange thing. So we've seen the handwriting, but we can't be judge and jury, right? So the handwriting looks like DECCAHEGGIE's. He's put an anthrax scare allegedly, right? Let's keep it legal. And So will they get a handwriting expert in? Possibly, because there was 7 emergency vehicles attended. There was old people scared. So you're causing fear, alarm, and distress.
Fear and alarm.
Yeah. And that's where he's it'll take time. I believe now the Scottish police were not helping DECCAHEGGIE in any way, shape or form. Hence the reason he's back in Carlisle staying now at Diet Chips. But his Valium that he says is for complex PTSD diazepam is from a chemist in Montrose. So are you still lifting your prescription of Valium, which you don't get for complex PTSD? You get that because you get into a doctor and say you're scared you're going to die because you're taking too much cocaine or something, you know.
Can you smoke fags while on the live?
No, you can't do it anymore, mate. That's how my camera's off.
Yeah,
if you advertise smoking and that nowadays, they criticise you. Dangerous acts, yeah.
Well, how the hell does Paddy get away with smoking a pipe with drugs on it?
I want to check my Instagram. Somebody just said, check my Instagram here. Instagram, wait a minute. Have I got news for us? All right, okay. How we got here? Oh. Motam's MCGI Media. I'm back in the paper, man. Serial rapist. Oh. Buck. Paddy Conroy was asking where he get in touch with him to put him. Okay, I'll need to look at this after it. Paddy Conroy was asking where he could get in touch with him to put him on his live about some murder he got set up and locked up for years ago. Ha ha ha. Motams. Who's Motams? Motams is a NCGI Media, guys.
MCI Media.
Is that face is familiar, isn't it? I've seen that face a photo on her. Serial rapist. Is it Michael Buck found guilty over historic attack 20 odd years ago? Okay, I'll have a wee look at this, guys, after this. Right, guys, I'm just going to put a link out here for 5 minutes because Moto Nat was wanting on. Anybody want to come on? DECCAHEGGIE, bring your daddy, Diet Chips here, and let's discuss you being a serial alleged rapist.
I've got one question for you, fucking dick in your pants. Fucking.
Hello, Steve Rafe. How you getting on, my good friend?
Even
brother,
Steve
Rafe, brother Rafe,
well,
and now all the Masonic things are getting. Oh, shh, it's a secret.
It's a secret. Well, Steve Rafe, big up yourself, mate.
It's a secret. We can't talk about things now. The Masons are in the house. It's a conspiracy start theory all over again. Wait to put the camera on, Steve.
John, we're all Masonic here, so
conspiracy. It's all conspiracy. It's all the Masons. It's the Masons' fault. At first, years ago, it used to be. Who was it to get the blame yet? Toby Von Judge. There's a character and a half. Toby Von Judge. Then you've got the Masons come in, and this thing that Courtney's do, you know, it never ever happened. Hello, Steve. You all right? Steve Rafe, right. Mo Tams, Danny Weatherspoon is Mo's son, John, mate. John, what I'll do, I'll get a look at this. He's got EastEnders and so on, has fuck off. The lodge is open with the right worshipful master. Oh, Jesus Christ, here's Steve here with his eye patch on. Hang on, guys. Wait a minute here to put the pirate on. When you go, that's it. Make sure you've got it in the right eye, Paddy.
Is it the right eye or the left eye?
It doesn't matter. He's not sure about it, so it doesn't matter. You can get away with it.
Hold on, people. Let me take a wee smoke from my pipe here.
Hey lad, is that you smoking crack or are you smoking COVID?
Live from my shed. All them Masonics, yes, they are totally against me. But I know where all the bodies are buried. I know where every single body is buried.
Yeah, I do.
Let me just adjust my eye patch here. I know, people, where all them bodies are buried. But I'm not going to say anything more about the bodies until the paperwork has been due diligence. I need the paperwork to be due diligence. So if any platforms out there would like to help me, I've got the Masonics after me.
Don't forget the birds.
And my PayPal link is in the chat. If anybody wants to help support the bird feed fund, I need £900 to feed my birds for the next month. So please give generously to my Buy Me a Coffee fund so I can buy me bird seed. He's another jealous one, he is. That fucking Paddy. He's another well jealous one of, Decca's jealous of fucking DC. And Paddy Conroy's jealous of what's that group he calls them? Shitey Conroy, we know the story.
50 tins of spam and bird food. 50 tins of spam and bird food.
We need the
Hang on, the
bird
Twitter's
seed.
coming in.
We need the bird seed. Oh, we got a visitor.
I'm just be careful, right.
Thank you, mini move.
But anyway, as I was saying, I found links there with Christian for KRN TV's Twitter, and you never guess the surnames in there quite far in Woodcocks and Ellis. So then you've got Ronan there with Mr. Atwood as a certain control of YouTube and try to commence or hang on, wait to take you off the solo feed here, Steve. Hang on, exit solo feed. There you go, sorry.
Decca's in love with Danny Christie.
Oh, Decca is masturbating off to Danny Christie. That's my opinion. I'd be like to be proved wrong in that, but I'm quite sure you realise that's a definite yes.
The jealousy is fucking eating away at Decca that Danny's made it all on his own.
Yeah.
I say good luck to Danny because he's got the world at his feet.
Well, it doesn't matter if you've got the fucking world at your feet or not. At the end of the day, see if you can have your kids round about you for Christmas and that.
As we both can.
Yeah, as we both can. And you're no any danger to your children or anybody vulnerable. Well, you've won it anyway, yeah. The world's at your feet, yeah.
See how I look at it, John, is from this point of view. That Decca's saying, oh yeah, Danny's done this and done that, and but Decca, get it through your thick fucking skull. Danny's owned it, he's chewed it, he's enjoyed it, he spat it out, and he's an absolute changed gentleman. That's the difference between you.
Oh, you're taking the Paddy thing too far now. You've even got the fucking cat up now, Steve. This is right. Okay, Steve's got a pussy up in his knee.
And that's the difference, right? And then Decca goes on to say, "Oh, but look at Dave. So what? Have any of these two gentlemen, right, got fucking grape allegations on their record? No, they haven't. Right? Whatever. You damn pussy." Yeah, I mean, Danny's owned his stuff. He's chewed it, and as far as I'm concerned, he's a gentleman. He's another good one in society that's changed and he's reformed his character.
What do you think of Sean Atwood, Steve?
Sean Atwood, to be honest with you, I don't watch it. I haven't watched his stuff ever. I don't know much about the gentleman, and me and Ronan done a podcast recently, and Ronan asked me the same questions what you've asked there, and I don't know much about the guy to make a comment. To be fair with you,
who would you say was the best podcaster between him and James English?
James English. I watch James English's show, you know, as often as I can. There's something about James English that draws me in with his interviews and content. You know, so quite clearly, you know, my answer to that one is James English, you know, because I do watch his content.
But True Geordie, what do you think of the numbers of True Geordie? Do you believe the numbers to be true or what?
What, James English?
No, True Geordie, who I don't watch, yeah, but the numbers of, is it 1.3 million or something subscribers?
True Geordie, I've not heard of.
No, exactly. A lot of people's like that. I've never heard of them, even though they've got over 1 million subscribers. But anyway, another news: Paddy Conroy's viewing is. Wait a minute. I'll bring the numbers to you because I don't want to be bringing any false allegations. So Paddy Conroy, his numbers. Okay. His Social Blade, his views are down by 229%. And if anybody wants to click to socialblade.com, YouTube user Mr. Paddy Conroy, the numbers don't lie. Social Blade, it's quite good if you want to see the true things, the true numbers. Go into Social Blade, and if you look at the stats summary, his earnings go between 160 to 2.5 grand. But again, that's just that's the kind of way Social Blade works. But go to socialblade.com, YouTube user Mr. Paddy Conroy. Because why? Because people have then realised his numbers are false economy. He's got people, I mean, I think he boasted last week he had 2 Zimbabweans watching from Zimbabwe, a penny a view. If you want to make money with false economy, well, get a kind of this is just a wee. Go to socialblade.com, Mr. Paddy. In fact, you can do it with any channel, but Mr. Paddy Conroy is a perfect example.
And what's that, John? Social Blade, is it called?
Socialblade.com.
Will that show me an analysis of my channel?
Yes, and I'll also show you where his views are coming from.
Now, have you noticed something about
how to do a bit of trickery, Paul Daniels to people? Go into socialblade.com, punch in Mr. Paddy Conroy, and you'll see how certain people will jump. The numbers don't lie, guys.
John, can I ask you something about all this? Because you understand this better. I did flick on Paddy's and watched a couple of his shows, right? And he has like 800, 900 of viewers in on a time.
Yeah.
How is that possible to have that amount of viewers?
I'll tell you why. I've just showed you. Socialblade.com.
I think he's buying views, I do, or something like that.
No, just go on your seat, because I don't want to. I'll show you everything. I'll show you subscribers. I'll show you video views, rank, country. I'll show you everything. It's half the computer. The numbers don't lie.
I'm gonna have a look at that after.
Socialblade.com. Yeah. Mr. Socialblade.com, YouTube user Mr. Paddy Conroy. You can do it with anybody, any channel, but if you want true numbers, see where it's coming from. There used to be a channel called It's All About YouTubers 13. I don't know what happened to the lad, but he was good at the beginning. Things were right for Paddy, but then all of a sudden, you know, it's like people, you know how he sits like that.
With his dirty fingernails that he ain't washed in a month.
Well, see, what happens is if you've got somebody controlling the narrative, if you're getting somebody with a question, that doesn't fit where he's trying to go. His wife has said to him, get off social media or I'm leaving you. He's told his wife he's got to leave social media after Christmas. He's finished with it. Why? Because I really, truly believe now that Paddy's realised that the media, Northumbria Constabulary, created a fake tough war. Right? Now, because Paddy smokes a copious amounts of cannabis, and I'm not saying that because this is my words to him, because he smokes a copious amounts of cannabis. If trying to argue with somebody who's suffers from cannabis psychosis, you can't win an argument. You will not win that argument with them. I don't smoke dope. I don't like it. I'd love to be able to sit and have a joint at night, but I don't. I can't deal with it. It's shit. It's a shit drug. I went from no drug straight to the A. I was a fucking idiot. But if you want to get stuck on the B, well, that's up to you. I'm not saying don't smoke it, but I'd advise not to. If you're smoking, don't smoke it.
I gave it up 3 years ago smoking it, and I mean, I was spending like £60 to £70 a week on cannabis, and I gave up.
When I had a drug habit, it was thousands a day.
I gave up 3 years ago, and I realised exactly how much money I was saving. You know, and you know, I'm better off for not smoking it, because it makes you think things that you don't want to think. You know,
exactly.
Creates the illusion. You know, and you know,
I said to my friend, how do you smoke that? And he went, well, when I smoke it, I don't worry about things. And I went, what do you mean worry about things? This is 20 years ago. He said, well, if I smoke that joint, I don't worry about my tyres, my car, or my road tax, or my TV license. And I went, fucking hell, man, I don't worry about these things anyway, you know. So,
and plus
I must just be constantly stoned.
And I went from 10 stone to 16 stone.
All right, okay.
I was like, fuck it, you know, because I sacrificed eating or having a fag or going down to the gym. And then before I knew it, I was like 16 stone. I was like, oh, fuck, you know.
Well, you know what? I had a friend, he emigrated to Australia and he built fire engines. He never ever took anything other than grass or a bit of dope. And he looked like somebody who was using heroin. His eyes were black. He was skin and bone, and he stopped smoking it. The last time I seen him, he was fucking hell. He's put on about 5-6 stone. It's just smoking dope.
It's because when you're smoking dope, you get the munchies and you're eating the shit. You're eating sweets and crisps and, you know, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, junk food.
Because it takes your appetite away, I found. The first year, you know, I'd stopped smoking it. All right, I was getting a bit agitated the first couple of months, you know, that I didn't have a joint. After the first 12 months, my appetite come back where I was eating 4 meals a day again, as opposed to, you know, just munching on bloody crisps and, you know, junk food.
Yeah, properly.
Paranoia you can get from it. You know, and the money I saved, you know, was that, you know, I could go out and buy whatever I wanted at the end of the weekend. You know, £80 in a week was a lot of money. And that saving that I made, you know, I could go out and go and buy myself something and not worry about it being replaced, because when I get on crap,
when I was on drugs, I blew £1 million on drugs for fun. Easy.
Fucking hell.
Easy.
Wow.
I blew fuck knows how many £100,000 worth in cars, just writing them off. It was stupidity, but you either survive it or you don't. My folks said, you believe in God? Yes, I do, because I come out it won't only hurt myself. I never killed anybody, and experience. You can't buy experience, yeah.
How did you get off it, if you don't mind me asking?
Because I was fucking fed up coming off it, man, and having a couple of year break. I ended up. It was a doctor actually. It was a lot of things. It was a wee Christian woman taking me into. She had a kind of rehab thing, and then I had a couple of year a relapse. But when I say a relapse, when I say I had 16 years on drugs, I didn't have a full 16 years on drugs. when I split up with the mother of my kids, I walked away. The mother of my kids' mother, the mother, I left them a house. I didn't want the house sold. I wanted my kids to have that house with the best upbringing. It was my problem. So even though I was fucked up on drugs and all the rest of it, I still managed to pull that in legally. You know, it wasn't like 16 years totally wasted. If I had 3 years on it, I would. I have fucked over £100,000 worth of cars for fun, easy, and that's me not exaggerating. That's me trying to save myself from being embarrassed here. I've wrote off, I don't know, 13. I've walked away from series acts, 13 of them or something. I've been flung out of windscreens. I've had road rash from my shoulder to my ankle. I've been into hospital and all I had was a bit around my waist, had my trousers on because I was skating down the road. I've had my foot smashed. I've woke up fucking pulling wires off me. I don't know how many times. Never deliberately try to commit suicide ever, but I certainly woke up with wires hanging off me, you know, and took a shortcut at the hospital once and had people, nurses and all that, looking for me because I found a shortcut at the hospital, sitting in the fucking waiting area, waiting for somebody to come and pick me up, and noticed all the staff running about with police and that trying to find me, and I'm just sitting there watching fucking Jeremy Kyle and that Tuesday afternoon. I walked to a hospital with a hospital dressing gown on, with my ass cheek hanging out because the hospital uniform had a triangle cut and it was flopped out, and I walked right out. They tried to section me once. They come into a room and started putting on their gloves like that, and I done a side sweep at the office door, and the opening doors at Air Hospital was by luck. There's a doctor had walked in and they were open. I didn't have to press any buttons, and I run right out through a hedge and I went to a bus. The bus was, and I told the driver to keep driving. I kept down and I police and everything. My friends back then, because that's what they'd done, they were flushing things. The police were at 2, 3 in the morning. I had friends, I had cars here, there, and everywhere. They were blocking cars in so that I couldn't get cars out. The police were more worried that I didn't get my hands in a car. So all my friends had done the good thing for me and blocked my cars in so I couldn't get them out. But they were away chapping my friends up 3, 4 in the morning looking for me. They were flushing things, and the police were like, oh, don't panic. They were more scared that. But listen, at the end of the day, it's a fucking dangerous life. I don't think it's a cool thing whatsoever. I've done things I'm not proud of. Like, I've done bad things. I'm not proud of. But at the end of the day, it's what it is. That's the fucking. I can't judge people for cracking somebody in the head with a hammer or anything like that. At the end of the day, if you're going to go into a dirty drug trade, taking it and having to get by on it, you're going to put yourself in a lot of situations. You're going to put yourself in situations that all of a sudden you know, maybe by a year down the line you go, fucking hell, you know, because you'd forgot about it. You're that out of your head. There's some things that you have to live with.
I've got a lot of respect for people that you know, come off of a heavy drug addiction, because it's a struggle enough, you know, to try
I challenge you. What you'll find is the majority of people out there who call people junkies and that are fighting themselves. And I'm quite happy that people target me and say, oh, Junkie John or whatever, because I can deal with that. I know, but I also know other people out there can't deal with it. I swore, before my gran died, I swore the one drug I'd never ever take in my life again, that's heroin. And you just got old, mate. Yeah, if you get to the age of 40 and you're still taking the shit, the chances are you're always got to take it. And I decided before that, you know, it's like I was getting too old, 39-year-old or something, 38-year-old. I thought, fuck this. 3 years and blew $1 million again. I was blowing, mate. I was like, when people are saying they spent £20 a day in drugs, like, I don't know, probably the most I've spent in one night just having a bit of fun, probably 10, 15 grand for fun. Steve's batteries went. You all right, Steve? I don't know if he's trying to get back in there. I think Steve's battery's gone, guys. So there you go. DECCAHEGGIE, no doubt you sit there reading this and weeping again tonight. Weeping wallow. Any questions, guys? Drug life to good life, mate. Sorry for going in hard on you last week, right? But it's only because I've been there. I blame everybody apart from myself. If I was to take a tour around my house right now, you'd probably be like, big-headed prick. And that's why I don't do it. But all I'm going to say is that, yeah, anybody out there who's struggling with it, I went through a stage where I'm talking to this boy here. I went through a stage where I blame everybody for it. Everybody else. Didn't matter where I went. If I went to a probation officer or whatever, it was somebody else's fault. You know, it's like putting on nice clothes and come on here. I don't want to. That's how I put on an old brag just to come on here on a camera because I don't like showing off. Fucking hate it. But I also like to see people doing well in life and driving a nice car and having nice things. So, mate, yeah, all good, brother. I respect you. As I say, I wasn't getting hard on you. I was just, you need to, the first stage of getting clean, stop blaming everybody else. And just take one day at a time. The easy bit's getting clean, it's staying clean, it's hard. But I'm not saying if I go to a party, listen, I'm not going to say I'll not have a drink or a bit of sherbet dip or something. I'd be a fucking hypocrite. But would I ever take a bit of heroin? You couldn't pay me again. You couldn't pay me. I took it because I wasn't educated in what was taken. And if I knew what it was, I certainly knew what heroin was. But did I know that you could put a bit of powder on a bit of foil and heat that foil for it to become caramelized to take all your worries away? No, I didn't. And I think I'll blame education for that one. What else we got here? No, mate, it's that Kyra M saying don't give up. Don't give up. At the end of the day, mate, you've got young kids there about you and all the rest of it. I would advise fucking keeping your kids off social media. Because it's a fucking cruel world out here, mate, and they will grab your kids' pictures and they will fucking... there's a little bastard on here who used to big every single video was on. He used to every single video I'd put up, he'd be the first in there commenting. And then my girls, I've got 3 girls, twins, their profiles appeared, their channels with their names on YouTube. And I knew, and I phoned somebody and I went, you know what, I'm going to put up a video and I guarantee you, and I actually took a bet with the guy. I said, I guarantee you he will not fucking comment in this video. Because I was very careful on how I worded it. And he commented in every video. Maybe 30 videos I'd done. He was there in every single one. Every live or whatever. He was there. Except that one video. Because the way I worded it, I knew I'd put the fear into him. And he might be sitting up there thinking, it's all right because nothing's going to happen. But trust me, I'll get to you. Right now, just too busy. I'm not letting anybody... It's the same with Ellis, right? If you want to keep driving battleships, you keep that fucking video up there calling my missus a prostitute. You've got to drive a battleship for the rest of your life. It's the same. Anybody want to attack my friends' girls or friends' wives or anything, you can do all you want. I can't stop you doing that. But we will get to you. At some point we will get to you. I'm just reading some of the comments here, guys. A lot of people were allergic to a filler containing nuts and tablets. If anybody's taking a blocker, right, it's not to be laughed at. A blocker's fine. Aye, sorry, John. So, Paul Ellis has got a video up there calling Donna a prostitute. Yeah. And he will drive battleships until the fucking day he dies. If he wants to look like something out of Mad Max going down the road, that's fine. Rather him than me. He made stupid threats that he couldn't keep. And I believe him and his girl is helping DECCAHEGGIE. When was the last time anybody seen Paula Benny saying anything bad about DECCAHEGGIE? On thank young team. Big Billy. On thank. Guys, joking about addiction, but I have issues of my own. I turn into a non-functional jockey when I kick opiates. I not touch street stuff for years. You'll find, guys, listen, anybody out there, it's like Decca. Decca was chasing the dragon in 2018, long before we'd heard of him. Fact. Look at this, on thank young team. If you look at my last 2 uploads, you'll see how much everything is getting to me. But yeah, mate, listen. If everything's getting to you, I would advise fucking staying off this YouTube. What you done, Steve?
Fucking hell. BC threw a paddy fit at me, I think, and just went off.
Oh, you did, mate. You keep talking, I need to eat.
Yeah. So, yeah,
sorry,
PC. I think I need to buy a new PC, I think.
Jimmy Algebra, hello, mate.
The screen just went bloody blank and then switched off. I thought, eh?
So what would you suggest, Steve, to all the people that's out there making videos for Decca now?
Well, there's only one thing I've got to say to you all. You know, you all need to wake up, smell the coffee, and see this beast of a man for what he really is. He's left behind a trail of destruction in females' lives. And we've only heard from 2. And what I suggest to anybody out there, you know, that's still in support of him, you know, that are still willing to pay $4.99 to, you know, send this beast a message, please go to John's video selections on his channel and view the dot story. Now, that's true. That girl's told the truth 1,000,000%, and it took the best part of maybe a year for her to find the courage, you know, to even put the confidence into Alex, you know, to speak openly about this. And, you know, she's courageous. She's got so much courage, you know, for making that documentary with Alex Donna. So the only thing I suggest to all of you out there, you know, that still believing that he's not the beast what he is, above all of the information that's been put out there, the 55-page acro is a legitimate document, people. It's an absolute legitimate document. Now, please watch the documentary story.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a vital watch, that is. And this courageous lady opens up her heart to all the badness that she's had to go through at the hands of DECCAHEGGIE. You know, I still can't believe that there's actually 10k people that still support him. Now, recently more so, you know, he's conned a gentleman out of £500 for a fight that was never going to happen. He lies through his teeth constantly, you know, to keep what subs that, you know, are complete blind. They're either blind or stupid. Because if I can wake up and if I can smell the coffee and I can see the truth, then every one of you guys out there can also see the truth.
What about Cassie, Steve? What did Cassie have to say to you when you were talking to her?
Cassie,
His
Cassie?
sister.
See, she's in on it. See, now this is what I don't get, people. The mum is in support of Decca, and she was on the phone explaining to Decca that if he gets one more crime, they're going to see him as a sex beast. And the brother just stood back when Decca launched an attack at Dot, and Dot, bless her heart, you know, she still has physical problems with her jaw because of Decca punching it in front of his brother, and his brother's in on it all as well.
Does Cassie have any drugs problems, John? Do you know if she takes any drugs?
Cassie, I'm not sure. I can't say if she's on drugs or not.
Do you know the story? Do you know the allegations that was going about Carlisle years ago regarding Barry Decca's brother and Cassie HEGGIE? Have you heard the rumour?
No.
So it was rumoured back in the day. A boy made a video, right? Saying that.
John, hold on. There's a channel there, HEGGIE with a smile. Now that channel changed its name back ago to my ex's name, Fran.
What was it called?
HEGGIE. It was just up on that one there. That's on the screen now.
That one I've just put up there.
Yeah. Back ago, that channel actually had its name as my ex's name, Fran. And if you rewind this video, you'll find out exactly what made me change my mind about Decca. I'm not going to repeat that part, but if you look back on this video, you'll see exactly what made me change my mind about the beast and what made me know the truth, that John and everybody else has been telling the truth. I was just too thick to see the truth.
Okay, mate. No, I'm just saying, John, the other John, no me. John with the dog is saying it's no change. But anyway, so basically there was a rumour, and I'm going to say it was a rumour. It was only certain people in Carlisle, excluding Danny Christie from this, by the way. Other people from Harrowby and Carlisle said that Barry used to camcorder the sister getting fingered for a couple of cigarettes.
Wow. Wow.
Now that listen, this is a boy in Carlisle who made a video saying it's no secret that Wafflehead used to come out with a camcorder and Hindu Cassie for a couple, getting fingered for a couple of fags or something along the lines. Yeah. So it was widely spoken about the things that some members of the family have done was kind of obscene. Yeah, like you know what I'm saying? That it was like Decca's first offence was flinging rocks at single mums and buggies, child's buggies.
Is that the same woman that was letting that kid sit on Decca's knee? And Decca kept asking that young child for a kiss. Is that her child?
I think the girl. I'll text you, Henry. I think that was. I think that was his. You might be right. I think that's maybe. I don't know, mate. It might be sisters.
All I know. His
family, his brother and sisters' kids are allowed to be in his vicinity as long as they're occupied with an adult. Social workers have carried out a certain element of safeguarding their children. They must have signed up to social work to say that they would not leave the kids alone with Uncle Derek. There's no way in the God's creations that after that they kids deserve the same amount of protection as any other kids out within the family, right? So they must have agreed to something by social workers or something for him to be allowed to put their kids' faces on social media and say, again, this is us, oh, give Uncle Decca a kiss. You creepy bastard.
See what I do know, you know, the dad's in full support of him. The mum's in support of him. The sister is definitely in support of him. The brother stood there and watched Decca hit a female and done absolutely nothing. Poor lady Dot. You know, my heart goes out to Dot, you know, for what Decca's put her through. As much as Geraldine as well. But all I know is the family's in full support. They know exactly what he is. The mum definitely knows. So if the mum knows, the rest of the family definitely know. And they're all in support of him. Do I condone any attacks on the house? No, I don't. You know, it's Decca that's done all of this. But, you know, there is also rumour spread out that Diet Chips has also got a 14-year-old girl pregnant.
And took her for an abortion. So in that case, he must have pretended to have been the father. He must have falsified documents of some sort, because back then it wasn't possible. I don't even think it's possible now to take, unless you're a parent, to take a child under 16. I think she was 14-year-old. It was alleged. He got a kicking for it in his front garden, allegedly, off Wally. I'm quite sure Diet Chips will know what I'm talking about there. And also, because, yeah, he was challenged about it. He got a kicking in his front garden.
Who, Diet Chips?
It was spoken about. Yeah.
See, and also, the funny thing I find, you know, Decca's up on the driving charge. And he claims he can't drive. Well, I've seen a video of him driving, so... He
failed on a handbrake, hill start, 3-point turn and aggression. 2019.
And the dad, in the dad up in court in February for dragging a young lad into the car and...
allegedly he drove onto a child's play park, kidnapped a child, attempted to cause grievous bodily harm, and something else. Allegedly, yeah. He's up at court for it next year.
So they could well be in the cell side by side then in March.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I'd say, people, you know, pass this video round. Share the video far and wide of Dot's story. You know, let's get that video out to, if we can reach 5,000 of these subscribers so they can view that video, you know, get that video shared far and wide, people, because these 10k subscribers under his channel, they need to see this video, you know, and maybe then, you know, they might well change their mind, you know, after they've seen the testimony, you know, of what he's put this young lady through, Dot. And I hope people can share that. John won't mind, you know, if you share that video far and wide, you know, let's get that message of Dot's out there, you know, and let's try and let these 5k people of these subscribers view this video and see him for exactly what he is.
Yes.
A narcissistic, dirty beast.
Right, guys, I don't know where Motorsports is. He's maybe away. I don't know if he's live. Guys, go over and give Motorsports and Buggies a subscribe. Go over and give a Fish at Topic Top a subscribe. Go over and give Exposure TV. Guys, at the end of the day, everybody's doing what they can do. It's the other people that your guys see would know that, mate. Listen, you better stop the fucking videos or I'm just going to out you. But except Steve's a fine example here. How far we go. You might think you're getting away with it just now. I wouldn't want to be my fucking enemy.
John does exactly what he says on the tin. He's Dulux.
I just thought I'd bring you on the night after you were on last night, Steve.
See, and the thing that angered me, John, you know, he's used a video with me in it, and also with my wife in that video. He's not asked my permission. I didn't want that on his channel. I don't want part, shape, or form of anything to do with that DH at all. I've struck his channel, and I'm hoping over the next 24 hours, YouTube. I've been in contact with him for about an hour and a half in conversation with him via the chat with YouTube.
I think John's a big supporter here, like, but I think John, I don't know, John doesn't like you, Steve, but you can't please everybody, and that's a good thing about YouTube, because we're not here to be everybody's friends.
I mean, there's still people that are going to dislike me, you know, because of, you know, what I've done in the past. I mean, I understand that, and it's a blessing, you know, that John accepted my apology. You know, it's an absolute blessing, and I never thought in a million years, you know, that I'd be sat on his channel, you know, having a conversation.
To be honest, mate, you were too far away, and you had nothing that we could do. And you know what I mean? The only person, if it to hurt you, would be hurting your wife, and it's not your wife's fault. That's how, like, but Paul Ellis and people like that, it's different. That's different. He's still got a video up the other day, but he's driving about in a fucking armoured car, or he will be. I'm only joking. I say that, obviously. You know,
I mean, I can't please everyone. I don't expect everybody to, you know, come round to me. I've still got a lot of proving to do within myself, and you know, to the YouTube community that I'm a changed person.
Yeah, exactly.
If it takes me a year, it takes me a year. If it takes me 2 years, you know, I've got all the time in the world. You know, my channel, it stayed absolutely positive. You know, I'm on my own path, doing my own content. I know there's still 1 or 2 people out there that dislike me. You know, I know and understand this, and maybe some of them will never come round, you know, to accepting me. You know, I can only do but what I can do, you know, and that's be myself. And, you know, all I say to people is just give me time, you know, to prove myself. You know, I've got 5, 10 years. You know, if it takes 10 years, it takes 10 years. You know, all I can but do is, you know, apologise, you know, for my wrongdoings in the past. But,
well,
it
could be worse. I mean, you could be a Dr. Ratpool, and you could be a Daniel Bellend. You know, it's like, it is what it is. But listen, I'm going to let you go, guys, because that's how long? That's 2.5 hours. And my dog's sitting fucking pawing at me here, saying, "Come on, you bastard, get off it." Guys, exactly. Steve said he's trying his best to show everybody, prove he's a changed person. He's coming out here and exposed HEGGIE for being behind quite a lot of things tonight. Again, this is Steve's truth, no mine. I can only tell you what we know, and all I'm going to say is, I'm just glad that Steve's seen sense. Let's just hope people like Glenn Seward and guys like that see sense very soon. That's
John,
all.
thanks for letting me come
You're
on.
welcome, mate. And guys, this week we're going to have Big Brian on. Big Brian and Emma Cockrell's coming on to talk about how they try to bully Brian to stop speaking to us. And Brian, again, Brian's been on Steve's topic talk here. And again, we're just going to kind of do it like that, guys. I just want to thank everybody for coming on and having it, even though we can't please everybody, as I'm saying. At the end of the day, guys, that's what it's all about. If we're here to please everybody, that would mean we're sheep. But we're not sheep.
Big up Bad Blood podcast. Good feathering.
Yeah. And big up Andrew Goyne, because she still fancies the pants off Danny Christie. And I'm really trying to get Anne to get a date there with Danny. But again, I'm kind of out of touch now. But I'm quite sure if Danny doesn't take Anne on a date, I'm quite sure Big Paul Venice will carry away with open arms. And if you're listening, I'm quite sure you want to kill me, but I'm quite sure you will agree you've got a wee fancy for Danny. Anyway, I don't want to spread any rumours, guys. It's not like I'm talking about any gay guy or anything, is it, Decca? Okay, guys, I'm going to go, right? Okay,
Just remember,
everybody.
Guys, share far and wide that dot story, please. You know, let's get these people that haven't seen it. Let's let them view that.
Yeah. Okay, Steve, thanks very much, mate. You have a good time. Tell your wife we're asking for a pal. And we're going to put this, we'll put Kyle, what was his second name again? Kyle
Pugh.
Kyle Pugh. We'll put this in a reminder for Kyle Pugh. Okay, guys, have fun. Thank you, Steve. You take care, mate. Thanks very much. Speak to you soon, mate. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.